for nothing. I am a failure, and I love it. Deviant. Die for nothing.
Hello and welcome to Grid Vision. We're excited to be here this lovely Tuesday night for the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series at the last great Coliseum, Bristol Motor Speedway. My name is Brian Britt. I should be joined later by co-commentator Caleb Viesca. Of course, the unsung hero behind the scenes is Austin Darbyshire, going to be handling all the camera work here tonight. Of course, definitely excited to see what we're going to have in store for us here. This is the last great Coliseum for a reason. It is going to be gladiatorial combat here tonight at this half-mile, almost super speedway version of a short track. Of course, Keegan Sobilo right now at the top of the board qualified. Of course, we have 150 laps on the docket here today. From what I've heard from a lot of the drivers, kind of before the show started, they talked about how the setup is very loose. Let's take a quick look, though, at the schedule for the rest of the week. And, of course, we see we just concluded yesterday the Talladega race with the trucks in Grid Vision Super Speedways competition. Of course, tonight, Bristol in the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. Of course, Thursday, newly started league, there is the SSRL Truck Series, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They're going to be at Charlotte. Of course, on Friday night, we're going to see NIS competition at Charlotte as well. That'll be at the Roval, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Me and the person that just actually joined in, Austin Edstrom, glad to have him here, is going to be there, of course, on Friday night. And, of course, doubleheader Sunday. We have had a change in the schedule for the Global Racing Truck Series at 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They're actually going to be at Iowa, so definitely excited to see that for sure. Of course, later that night, the RGR Kailu Glass Cup Xfinity Series, 9 p.m., is going to be, I do believe, at Charlotte, the Oval. So definitely excited to see that for sure. But Austin, I'm glad to see you, man. I didn't think we were going to see you tonight, man.
Yeah, I got a little lucky. My my real life announcing gig got over really, really quick, way faster than I thought. And I saw in our little group chat that you needed some help, so I figured I'd come swing by at the last minute, be the nice savior that Grid Vision and the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series needed for tonight.
Oh, you definitely swooped in just when we needed you, that's for sure. Of course, definitely excited to see what's going to happen here. Let's take a quick look at the points. Very tight points. Nathan Nicholson, of course, at the top of the board, tied right now. Three-way tie for the top of the pylon there. Justin Levine, of course, second. Craig Anzac, third. And not even really first, second, and third. Really, those guys are tied. Of course, fourth place in the points, John Lacido. Fifth place, Keegan Sobilo. And Nathan Meyer in sixth. And actually, those guys are not really in fourth, fifth, or sixth either. They're all tied. So second spot, and I do believe that third position or fourth position, all tied in the points. Of course, Brant Thacker, seventh. James Harris tied as well for that seventh place position. Ninth place, James South. Mark Math, of course, 10th. So that is interesting, to say the least, how close the points are.
You gotta love it. I know we're only 2 races in, but it's cool just seeing, our first race of the season at Auto Club was just kind of a topsy-turvy affair that ended up being a strategy race at the end. And then, obviously, last week at Texas, I mean, it just kind of devolved into a weird style of race where we saw some surprise guys get up front who had been involved in accidents early, and saw one of them take the win in Justin Levine. And I think we could see a lot of that again here today at Bristol. I mean, Bristol's a crazy track where a lot of crazy things can happen, and we could just see a really big-time surprise winner at the end of this thing.
I think it's going to be all about who survives this race. This is going to be, it's very, very loose from what I've heard, especially driving the truck on the bottom. Of course, 150 laps we have set for tonight. 3 sets of tires going to be down in the pits, I do believe, 4 altogether. 145 laps is, from what I'm hearing, is the fuel window. I don't think we're really going to have to worry about that too much, of course. But let's take a look at the, of course, starting grid. Is going to leave. Keegan Sabilo has real world short track experience, and it seems to be paying off here tonight. He's going to be starting from the pole. Boyd Wayne Hogan, glad to see him in competition here tonight. Starts in second place. Kevin Kerchar, he starts third. Robert Lawrence in fourth. Craig Ganzak fifth. Tyler Meeks in sixth. Caleb Forsyth in seventh. Eli Childs, I do believe, is going to be starting eighth. Interesting to see him race. Usually he's race control. Ninth place, James Harris. 10th, Andrew Hale.
11th place is going to be Nathan Meyer. 12th, William Mann Jr. And once I finally see row 7, I'll get to it. Mark Math in 13th. John Lacido starting in 14th. Row 8, George Young, Brandon Ball. 17th, Nathan Nicholson. And 18th, Brian Whitney. Michael Little coming up in 19th. James South in 20th. And Robert Wynn starting in 21st.
C-tier producer, you know, just unfortunate. But definitely excited to see these guys go around this racetrack. One of my favorite places. I mean, it's always been a bucket list track as well, to go see a race here at this legendary, Speedway. And I think these guys are going to definitely put on a great show out here. I have a good feeling about it. I mean, it's kind of a cool track temp right now. I do 80 degrees or so. So, you know, I think we're actually all pretty much set to get this race. Of course, 80 degrees on the actual track itself, 70 I do believe ambient, so not too bad when it comes to how these audience members definitely not having to deal with a lot of heat, that's for sure.
Yeah, and if you're watching at home on YouTube, watching this Champion Power Equipment Truck Series race, what you really need to watch is Sabilo and Boyd Hogan here on the front row. If you want to figure out how to drive fast in iRacing, just watch and analyze what these guys are going to do throughout the course of the event. Both of these guys extremely talented. Like you said, Sabilo with real life short track experience, and Boyd Hogan, who is just unbelievably talented, unbelievably fast on the sim. If you want to figure out how to drive a race car on iRacing, watch these two on the restart.
No, I definitely agree, and not to kind of discredit some of the other drivers that are in the field. I mean, Craig Ganzak fast, Robert Lawrence fast. We got a lot of fast drivers that are in this series. Now, I think this setup might be it might be very difficult to handle, but I know that one driver we talked about, keep talking about Boyd Hogan. He is definitely could probably drive a rock out here and still be able to find speed. So we'll have to see how that kind of plays out. Of course, pace car lights are out. I do believe we're going to be getting the call for the green flag here momentarily. We're having a little bit of a blinking issue there on the bottom line with Kevin Kerchar. Hopefully that clears up as we get set to go 150 laps here. Of course, that'll be 75 miles, and if we go green, it will take not long at all. This is not the lap times around this place, 14 to 15 seconds, of course, would fall off. It's going to get above that 15-second to 16-second range. But still, laps go by so fast here. I mean, you could literally turn 4 laps in a minute. I mean, that's definitely fast.
Yeah, if this thing runs green, which it won't, by the way, it will not, this race will be over in a heartbeat. But the green flag is out as Keegan Sabilo leads us down to take the green flag, starting out the Bristol night race here. Boyd Hogan looking on the outside, though, got a really good jump himself. But Sabilo's really wrapping the bottom. Oh, he tags the apron just a little bit, and that's going to give the race lead to Boyd Hogan coming out of turn 2, and he dives down into turn 3 and takes the nose off of Sabilo and takes the race lead as we complete lap number 1.
Yeah, I think yellow flag is already out. I think we have Nathan Nicholson possibly, as well as some other drivers. I do believe I see Robert Wynn.
I told you we weren't going green. I didn't think it was going to be that fast, but unfortunately,
you shouldn't have said that.
Yeah, that's fair. I jinxed it right off the bat. That's all my fault.
Let's take a look at it, though. I think you see Nathan Nicholson, I do believe, in the 99. I think he just got loose right here. And
actually,
unfortunately, look at Robert Wynn. He was trying to avoid the crash there. Actually, that was the 199, I think, of Mark Math, as you just mentioned, wasn't it?
Yeah, that little one's a little shiny and kind of difficult to see, so I'll give you a break on that one. And why does he got the numbers pushed forward on the truck, man? It's supposed to be in the middle of the door. You need to push those numbers back, Mark. Come on.
Saw Robert Wynn was trying to avoid hitting Mark Math there, and unfortunately He ended up hitting him anyway. Now, one thing I talked about this setup being very loose on the bottom side, and I think that's exactly wow. And we saw a little bit of a secondary accident as a result of this as well. I think maybe Brian Whitney, possibly Michael Little. You see right there, he was sideways. So I'm curious to see what happened after the fact, because a lot of the accidents, secondary accidents, we're trying to avoid Mark Math there.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, and that's honestly just kind of Bristol, isn't it? I mean, goodness gracious, there's an accident that could happen a whole straightaway ahead of you, and you get caught up in it. I mean, we saw it in the real life Cup Series race with Corey LaJoie and Joey Logano. I mean, Logano was 10 rows back from LaJoie on that accident, and him and everybody behind him got caught up in it, and you saw that was a little bit of net code. I mean, nothing
Yeah.
the 30 could do. The 93 obviously dodging the accident, and that's a tough net code thing because the 93 was coming across so heavy, so I'm not even
I
gonna,
think the
you know,
30
say it's
got
bad.
lucky because the 30 did not hit the inside wall. That could have been a lot worse than
It's
it
rare you
was.
wreck at Bristol and don't hit a wall, man.
Yeah. Yeah, there's walls pretty much everywhere that you could definitely tag, and luckily the 30 did not hit any, of course. So it looks like for the most part, I think everybody's going to escape with little damage. Now, this track is known for beating and just battering race cars, and I think a lot of these drivers are probably going to be missing some parts by the end of it.
I think that's a fair assessment. I do think that they have one fast repair though, so they're going to be able to. A couple of the guys that got injured in that accident are going to be able to come down and get a freebie. Kind of. I mean, it sucks you use it on lap one. I mean, that is really frustrating. That's something you want to save just in case you're later to the race. But it's good to still have it so that you can get back out there and still have just as fast of a truck as you had beforehand. So ultimately, no harm, no foul. But it does suck to not have that fast repair for later in the race.
Well, one thing about it as well is if you are, don't have that fast repair. I mean, it's very easy to use that fast repair. Is the point I'm getting to? Is if you just have just a little bit of damage and you go down pit road and you don't have it unchecked, very easy to use it and not have it for later for minimal damage. And so these guys are really gonna have to keep, be aware of that. As we see the pace car getting prepared to take that left turn down pit road once again. Boyd Wayne Hogan in control of the field here. And here we go. Green flag is back out in the air here for the second time here at Bristol Motor Speedway. Boyd with a really good start. Here comes Kevin Kuchar trying to use the bottom line to see if he could possibly get by the 77 of Sabilo. But top line has been the strongest line, I do believe, thus far from the little bit of a racing we've seen. But here comes Craig Ganzak trying to get by the 91.
That was a heavy dive from Yanzak going down into turn 3, trying to get under the 91, but the bottom of 3 and 4 is just not the place to be. You can get pinched down almost to the apron and just not be able to get that wheel untucked. Oh, we got another caution out, probably in the back of the field once again. I believe Mark Mass involved again coming out of turn number 2.
Mark Math is definitely the cause of our second caution here. And we'll see exactly what happened. I'm thinking he probably just got loose again here. We'll see, maybe some contact. As you see, I do believe Mike Little's right there behind him. Nope, same exact issue again here for Math. He just gets loose on the bottom. And that's the thing about it. We've seen all kinds of, I've heard it a lot from the drivers here tonight, in practice. They were even saying that, hey, you really don't want to touch that bottom. And Mark apparently did not get that memo.
Especially, it's just kind of the cold tires too, man.
Yeah. You see right here, I don't know, something about in the middle of the corner. It's just the truck seems to want to spin around right there. And he might just be getting back to the gas a little too early as well. That is messing with the truck.
Well, if we go back and watch that replay once again, going down into turn 1, I'd like to see his onboard again. You can kind of feel the back end step out as he's going down into the corner. So I don't even think it's an on the throttle issue. The car's loose as soon as he's in the corner. I mean, right here, he's already loose. He's already loose as soon as he's like loading down into the banking. And just, it's hard to save. Once you're loose and you're sliding, especially on the colder tires right off a restart, it's just tough, super tough to save. The next gen vehicle is a little bit more difficult, and that's kind of what I was thinking of in my head. But even the trucks, I mean, it can be so difficult to save that kind of power slide in the middle of the banking at Bristol. So, I mean, it's a tough beginning of the race for Mark Math, but again, I believe he's probably used that fast repair on the first one. Didn't touch anything on the second one, so there's still plenty of time for him to kind of right the ship. Right, if he finishes in the top 10, nobody's going to remember him spinning out twice in the first 10 laps. They're going to remember Mark Math had a top 10 in this race.
No, you're right. I just hope he cleans it up. I mean, I think the whole issue probably is maybe he's braking a little bit getting into the corner, something like that, and it's causing the car to over rotate, or maybe he's just being too aggressive with being his wheel movements kind of moving down the track on entry. Something is causing his tire, to break I'd say the limit of its grip. for sure. But I do believe we're getting ready to get this thing back underway once again. Of course, Boyd Hogan still in the lead of this thing. Going to be starting on the bottom, of course. I think Keegan Sabilo's best hope is that he is able to at least keep his nose on the right rear of Boyd into the first corner.
That's a easier thing to say than do, especially at Bristol.
Yeah,
I mean, the leader just has
the driver,
such the leader just has such an advantage with the restart zone at this racetrack, being able to power down as quick as you can and being on the inside line. I mean, it's just about in the middle of the corner, or on the exit of the corner, so you still got a little bit of the curve, but we're coming back to green as Boyd Hogan's going to lead us back down.
Yeah, here we go. Green flag back out in the air once again as Boyd Hogan not allowing Keegan Sabilo to get to that right rear like we were saying. But, of course, Sabilo once again under fire from Kevin Kirchar. I think he's going to utilize that top side, though, successfully to keep the 91 from getting by. As the 91, of course, under fire from Yanzak again. Yanzak up to the back bumper, as well as we see Robert Lawrence trying to come to play.
I think what we're going to see, I think we're going to get a decent green flag run at some point. What we're really going to have to look out for is who saves your tires the best towards the beginning of the run. You just got to kind of maintain the position you've been running as we watch Yanzak actually jump into the top 3 over Kachar. But you've really just got to maintain the position you're running and save that right front tire. If you can do that better than everybody else in the field, after 30 laps, you're going to be able to make the passes on the bottom whenever everybody else is struggling. So, oh man, 4th place of Kachar goes way up the hill in the middle of 3 and 4, gives the position away to Lawrence on the inside. Basically, yeah, he's got enough overlap going into 1 to where he just absolutely drives by the 91, but the 91 just shot hard right in the middle of the corner. I thought he had a huge problem. Luckily, he was able to save it.
I don't know. This is kind of definitely a scary situation. The 91 kind of putting his nose right in front of James Harris, of course, who has been really running the top very successfully. He got by Tyler Meeks. Meeks is starting to struggle on the bottom line as everybody in their moms are getting by him right now. I saw William Mann Jr. and Eli Childs making a pass. Here comes Nathan Meyer as well, as we have, of course, a side-by-side battle as Andrew Hale tries to work his way into the top 5.
Kirchar's pushing really hard at this point. I mean, he just got in the wall coming out of turn number 4 the lap before. He gets just about to it again, but I mean, he's using absolutely all the racetrack right now, just trying to hold on to that position. Made that little bit of a mistake, only was able to fall back to P5, so not too bad for Kirchar at this point, but he's just got to keep those tires under him just in case we get that long run. But still, side-by-side battling all throughout the field. We got a couple hard battles still after this restart as we jump back to, I believe that's the 30 machine of Whitney fighting James South. I know the guy. You would think that I would know his name. That's James South on the bottom trying to get by, but not able to do it. Oh, Kevin Kirchar makes another mistake coming out of turn number 4, and he just completely goes sideways, hits the inside wall, and that left front is kind of destroyed a little bit.
No caution either. We stay green after that accident. He goes from, of course, up into the top 10, back to 17th. So if we could definitely take a look back and see exactly what just happened here with the 91. We were focused on another battle. Of course, we see he's battling with Lawrence and Andrew Hale. And it looks like he just got loose up on the top side. Hale doing a magnificent job to avoid contact. And, of course, Kirchar hitting the inside wall. No caution. We stay green.
Yeah, that was impressive as Hale by Hale there. I mean, goodness gracious. Incredible for him to be on the bottom. I mean, he's throttling up to get out of the... Sorry, that's going to have to take me a second. He was throttling out to get out of the corner and is able to get off of it, tag the brakes just a little bit to allow the 91 to slide down the racetrack and not make any contact whatsoever. Absolutely masterful driving from the driver of the number 4 truck, Andrew Hale. I mean, great job. I mean, holding into the 6th place position, trying to gun down Harris for the top 5 spot.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing about it is that Hale had already gotten by Harris, but I think that whole issue kind of allowed Harris to kind of get it by. Of course, Boyd Hogan already starting to lap some cars. We saw Tyler Meeks. He had started up in the top 10. Now he's back in 18th. Something else must have happened to him as well, as here comes Boyd. Of course, going to be eating the tail pretty much. I mean, I expected this. I think Boyd Hogan's going to put a lot of cars a lap down here today. As we're going to take a look back, I think we might have the footage of what maybe something else happened here. Tyler Meeks, I think we're going to get to see exactly what happened to Meeks here. Because you see Meeks, I mean, Meeks was up in the top 10. Here it is. He slides, spins it down. A very good save. I'll give him credit. He had a very good save, was able to catch it, and did not hit anything. But that's why he's going a lap down right now.
Yeah, and that's basically the exact same thing that happened to Mark Math on the second caution. They go into turn 1, trying to get to the bottom of the racetrack, and before they even get into the banking, they're already loose. And once I mean, if you're in that power slide before you even get to the corner, you're done. There's no way you're getting through that corner nice and straight, coming off the corner nice. He honestly did the best job that he possibly could have given the situation, only doing that little half spin and able to save it on the apron. That could have been way, way worse for the driver of the 7. That's Meeks. Only going a lap down at this point. Not necessarily too bad. Still plenty of time for him to get that lap back too. Just unfortunate that he was in roughly the middle of the pack and he had to lose so many positions for it. But now we're going back to a side-by-side battle. That's Whitney trying to get to the bottom of Lucido through 3 and 4. The tougher corner to make that pass. Oh, Lucido, though, gets loose on the outside and allows Whitney to just take the position for free, move Whitney up to P9.
Also, we got a battle going on. Eli Childs has been driving his way through the field here up to the 5th place position, trying to pass Andrew Hale right now, and has been looking very successful. I have not really got to see Eli Childs in action very much, but I'll tell you what, he's impressing me right now. As, of course, we also see Nathan Meyer trying to battle with James Harris. We've got a big battle going on here for 5th. It's Harris into the outside wall.
He got crazy twitchy through 3 and 4. Does a great job holding on to that truck. Oh, man, but he's still twitchy going down into turn 1. Again, good job holding on to it, but that's scary. We're only, 30 green flag laps into this run? Not even that. We're 25 green flag laps into the run, and he's twitching like that through multiple corners in a row. That's not going to be a good sign there for that 55 machine.
No, not at all. I think a lot of these guys are starting to feel the tire life. I think starting to ebb, or kind of to wane. I'd say, considering we're seeing almost a second of fall off for some drivers. I mean, Keegan Sabila last time by 15.896. I mean, his fastest lap was a 15th lap pretty much. As we do have the battle for second place underway. Craig Yanzak trying to take second.
And he does. He takes that away from Sabilo. Yanzak being able to move through the field pretty good through the beginning portion of this race. He started in that P5 position. Honestly, not the best. Oh, man, sorry. I was looking at my other screen, and Hale got crazy sideways. I mean, there's just hard battling all throughout the racetrack. It's hard to keep track of. But Hale's trying to hold on to that P5 position from Childs and Whitney. But out of the last corner before turn 4, he was crazy loose coming out of the corner. And who was it? Childs got right to the back bumper and gave him a shot down the backstretch so that he could keep that position. But, man, just every time I turn and look at somebody else, I feel like they're half spinning and just about to go off the racetrack.
And we were talking about how difficult it seems to be to maintain that bottom line. You seem like you get loose down there, but it seems like guys are actually starting to do better down there. And you kind of even predicted that, I do believe. Caution flag is out, as I do believe William Mann Jr. falls through the field.
Not surprised to see James South involved in an accident, but unfortunate for William. He's going to hate me, man. But we're going to look at a replay of this accident to see what really happened. James South coming up on him. Man's just a little bit loose coming out of turn number 4. Then goes down to turn 1, and before he's even to the corner again, it's the same thing into turn 1. They just get sideways before they even get to the corner. Hard contact. Oh, man, almost hard contact. Was that the 91 again?
Yes.
Just about getting into it again, but that caution actually saved them because we see Boyd Hogan right behind him coming off the corner too. So that actually saves Kirchard from going a lap down or in the early running.
Yeah, for sure. And unfortunate, I mean, really good, I'd say, miss there for James South. And we got some heavy damage there on the 91's front left there. So definitely going to be feeling paying the price for that for sure. Probably going to be wanting to come down pit road to get some of that fixed. Oh, he already had damage, it looks like, actually. I thought that was after but it looks like he didn't get that damage from that.
Yeah, that was from him hitting the inside wall whenever he got loose coming out of turn number 4. And but he's gonna. I mean, that saves him because he was fast. He was in the top 5, just made a couple little mistakes, but now he's gonna be able to put on tires, get that faster pair, and try to make a charge through the field.
100% pit stops happening right now. While we have a moment, I do want to give a shout out to, of course, the title sponsor of this series, that being Champion Power Equipment. Are you looking for reliable and high-performance power equipment to help you tackle any job? Look no further than Champion Power Equipment. Whether you're in need of a portable generator, pressure washer, or any other power tool, Champion has you covered with top-of-the-line, affordable products. Of course, and they are a proud sponsor of the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. They're excited to bring you even more power and performance on and off the track. Visit championpowerequipment.com today to learn more. Definitely glad. Go ahead.
Sorry, look at that amazing drone work from our producer there to be able to keep that perfectly even. Totally a real-life drone that he was flying next to that race truck right there so that he could keep that that sponsor going. You know, I've called him C-tier enough. I think I need to sing his praises a little bit, right?
Oh, yeah, doing a fantastic job.
He said C's for champion. Mike. That's a good sponsor plug. If only the producer had a microphone.
And as we see, of course, I do believe Tyler Meeks was able to get his lap back, and I think he actually is in the lead right now, but I don't think he's going to be in the lead for long. He's actually coming to pit road as we speak. Keegan Sobilo up in the lead Boyd Wayne Hogan's back in 14th now. I'm curious what happened there with that.
Yeah, we're going to have to go back and see if he got a speeding penalty and had to drop all the way back, but that is very questionable there from Boyd. I mean, he had such a good lead. Going to go down to the end of his pit stop and just kind of see what happened. He just
Looking at
stayed
it.
on pit road really, really long. Maybe he had to take a little bit of a pee break.
I don't know. I mean, he spent about 31.5 seconds in the box, so maybe it was fixing some damage on that truck. But he's definitely going to have to, have to go through this field and drive. And that's the thing. Traffic is going to be, I think, the most dangerous thing about a race here at Bristol. So I think this could very much be a kind of a gift to drivers like Keegan Sabilo and Craig Ganzak. But you can never really count out Boyd Hogan. I mean, he's gonna probably find his way back up to the front. I mean, he always usually does. We've seen him in a lot of races here on Grid Vision, and he's definitely always still in contention.
Yeah, it'll be fun to watch him pick through the pack. In all honesty, I mean, he had picked up what, a 3-second lead, just about. Maybe it was just hovering around the 2-second gap, but I mean, he's got the truck, he's got the talent to do it. I think watching Boyd Hogan pick through the pack is going to be a heck of a show on this restart for the last 100 laps.
100%. Here we go. Keegan Sabilo, with the field in hand, has elected to choose the top side. I really like this call as the pace car heads down pit road. Green flag is out. Top line has been the dominant line on the short run, and it looks like Keegan has recognized that fact as he's going to see if he can't possibly drive away. Robert Lawrence, with a really good start, is going to try to see if he can possibly pick off Brian Whitney.
Yeah, he gets down to the bottom, but again, it's so hard in 3 and 4, but he wrapped it really well there for the first lap on cold tires. Still was not able to quite get clear, but he's still even going down into turn 1, which is probably the easier corner to make the pass, but Whitney just threw it in really deep into turn number 1 and is actually able to get a really good run coming off the corner. I think he's going to be able to hold on to that third place position here on the outside coming out of 4. But man, I mean, honestly, Lorenz is doing a really good job on the bottom of 3 and 4. Most people cannot keep the bottom going to where they have enough momentum to stay side by side, but finally he's starting to fade, and he actually gets passed again by Hale now through 3 and 4.
Yeah, I think the top side, especially early, is going to be where you're going to want to be. But it seems like later in the run, the guys that ran the bottom saved their tires a little bit better. So I think it's kind of like a risk versus reward type deal, or a transactional type thing, where if you run that bottom, you'll probably be better in the longer run. But if you run the top, you'll be better in the short run. So I think that, Robert Lawrence is probably, okay with running this bottom, maybe saving a little bit of tire and letting these guys go and then picking them off later. But I'll tell you what, I've been so impressed with what we've been seeing from Eli Childs. Don't get to see this race car driver drive very often here in the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series, but like most of the time he's in race control. He needs to step down from the tower every now and again and race because he's putting on the show.
Yeah, jumping up into the top 5 for Eli Childs, that's massively impressive here in the early going. I say early going, we're already a third of the way through that race thanks to that long green flag run we had. I mean, it just logged off the laps like nobody's business, but it's allowed Eli Childs to just kind of pick through the field a little bit. Speaking of picking through the field, Boyd Hogan already up to 9th place. Looking at the outside of Lucido now. Oh man, South actually gets a little bit tight in the middle of the corner, and that's going to allow Boyd Hogan to get to his inside coming off the corner. Now down into turn 1, can Boyd Hogan, or sorry, that's Kirchar, not Hogan. I completely got the 91 and 96 mixed up, but Kirchar still makes a really good move on James South to be able to get down to the bottom of him and take away, what is that, the 13th or 14th place position.
Here, they have similar paint schemes. I got to, oh boy, getting really loose as he was trying to get by Nathan Meyer, and of course he is going to fall back a little bit from Meyer, have to regroup. As we see a little bit further back, there's kind of a cluster of race cars battling, and that is, of course, Kevin Kirchar. We were talking about the 91. He's fighting with Michael Little, and we see Robert Lawrence right here trying to battle with Eli Childs, jumping to the bottom to see if he can possibly get this pass completed.
Now we look back to James
sideways from Lawrence, and here we go, Michael Little around. Caution's going to come out.
That's that same turn 1 issue, man. For whatever reason, turn 1 in the trucks has just been a real challenge for everybody today. I mean, before they even get into the corner, they're just wrecking loose. It's just such a weird kind of sensation to deal with. I mean, once you land into the corner and you're already sideways, there's just nothing you can do. As we're on board with Michael Little going down to 1. I mean, you can see the back end stepping out right as he gets into the corner. It's pretty subtle at first, but then after that, it just goes. But good job from everybody for missing both the drivers that spun out there and not making that any worse than it could have been.
Yeah, that's really odd. I'm definitely confused as to why that keeps happening there, but must be something to do with the setup that these guys have on these race cars. I think while we got a moment, I think that now's a good time to take a step away, pay some attention to our sponsors. We'll be right back with some more racing here at Bristol.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series. In officially licensed cars, engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back to Grid Vision's coverage of the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series at Bristol Motor Speedway. Of course, we just saw a caution. We're on lap number 60. Keegan Sabilo out front right now, choosing that top side once again here. Craig Ganzak, what can he do against Keegan? We'll have to wait and see. Pace car has dipped down pit road, and the green flag is out. Sabilo not getting going as good as he did in the last restart. Could the three of Craig Ganzak maybe have a chance? Andrew Hale, big send on the inside.
He's going to have to dive it into turn 3 to try to clear the 30 in the middle of the corner. He does it kind of a little bit of a slide job move to just kind of get into the third place position in front of the 30 of Whitney. Really good move there from Hale. I mean, I've been really impressed with Andrew Hale through the beginning portion of this race, but don't look too far back. Boyd Hogan is really starting to pick through the field. I was surprised that he had jumped all the way up to 9th place whenever I had miscalled him earlier, but I mean, he's just charging on the bottom of the racetrack. Every time he goes into the corner, he's picking up just a little bit more speed and able to wrap the bottom of the racetrack better than anybody else in the field.
Oh, yeah, this is kind of not a surprise here. Oh, he's almost got some contact. Oh, him and Eli Childs definitely getting a little bit too close for comfort. And that almost turned into an accident. But luckily, Boyd Hogan was able to make it by as Robert Lawrence tries to follow suit. And here comes Boyd to the inside of Brian Whitney.
Yeah, Boyd is just not settling. I cannot believe that he has jumped all the way up to side-by-side for the 4th place position. I mean, he started way back in this field and is now taking that 4th place away from the 30 of Whitney like he was just standing still. I mean, Boyd Hogan is flying, but James South down on the apron as we're looking at who is that in the 73. That's Lucido battling Kurt Schar coming off of turn number 4. But it looks like Kurt Schar is going to be able to win that battle in the end and take the position away.
Yeah, we're seeing battling all over this racetrack. Of course, Lucido has been having some really... Oh, caution flag is out. Tyler Meeks, I believe. The 7 machine having some issues here, and that's going to bring that caution flag out. He falls back to the 15th position. They believe he's going to stay on the lead lap. Doesn't look like he hit much of anything. Let's take a look at the replay. See
I think
exactly
Kurt Schar
what
was
happened.
involved because he escaped. I think he was on the inside of the racetrack, stopped against the inside wall.
Oh,
Yep, he
yeah.
started it.
I think Meeks might have been trying to avoid Kirchar and spun himself out. Luckily, Meeks did not hit anything, but Kirchar, he did. I think he hit the water barrels there.
Yeah, he got either into the water barrels or the inside wall, and he had already taken his fast repair to fix the left front damage he had earlier from hitting the same wall. And unfortunately, that's just going to be the end of his night. He called it quits. He knew that damage was not going to be repairable at this point. But again, I mean, as soon as he gets in the corner, it slides up the racetrack. Once again, yeah, he hit the inside barrels there with the left rear and then tags it again with the front nose. I mean, that would have been a lot of damage on the left rear of that car. So probably a smart decision to just back it up at this point. I hate to say it, but at the beginning of the race, he was making a lot of mistakes. Even though he was really, really quick in qualifying and obviously quick on the racetrack, just those mistakes ended up catching up with him.
Yeah, definitely unfortunate. Had a fast race car. I mean, very fast on the shorter runs, and definitely could have possibly had a good finish here. If I think it's just all on the setup. I don't really think it's a lot of these guys' faults. I think that this car has just been hard to wrangle. The setup, the way these I don't know, the suspension or something is definitely making it very difficult for these guys to to keep the car going straight on the entry of the corner. Of course, I do want to give a shout out to another partner here with the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series while we have a moment. That being Blackstone Management Partners. They guarantee an unrivaled one-on-one approach to every client, providing them with solutions and services required to keep their dynamic brands thriving and one step ahead of the ever-changing consumer marketplace. Blackstone comprises expertise in marketing, communication, talent management, and event management. Working with their clients, they not only use traditional but state of the art platforms, including mobile marketing, investigative marketing, and cause driven marketing. Visit them at bsmpartners.com. What a race we have seen thus far. Of course, we've seen quite a lot of guys getting loose in the middle of the corner. So I really can't blame these guys. I guarantee you, if I was out there right now on this racetrack, I'd be a lot worse.
Yeah, you can tell that these guys don't have Team Watson Racing setups underneath them because they're spinning out all the time, going down into turn one. And I kind of like to see what Craig Anzac did. He probably knew that he wasn't going to be able to make that pass for the race lead. It's just super difficult, especially on these restarts. So he came down and actually took a set of tires, and we saw how much tire fall off we had in that one decently long run we had. I think it was 35, 40 laps. I know that he's probably only going to have about 10 or 15 lap fresher tires on the rest of the field, but if this thing does run green, I mean, it's going to put him on the front foot for the rest of the event.
No, I think so. I mean, of course, fuel is not a concern anymore. We talked about that before. It was 145 laps is pretty much the estimated fuel. Tires are going to be the thing these guys are going to want the most. So I think Janzak probably made a really good decision there to kind of just try to think outside the box. I think that's going to be the key here. These guys that are up front are going to struggle a lot more on the later portions of this race. So, no, I think that was a good call. As we see, of course, everybody getting double fouled and Keegan Sabilo preparing to take the green once again. Pace car should be heading down pit road very, very shortly, as I have definitely enjoyed this race here at Bristol. Let's see what Boyd does. I think he's been the one that everybody's been watching. He's definitely always got to be the center of attention. But here we go. Pace car has dipped down pit road as we get ready to enter the Geico restart zone. Green flag is out. Sabilo with a pretty good start. Of course, here comes Boyd Wayne Hogan to the inside of Andrew Hale. Can he make the pass stick? And it looks like he's going to – it's a work in progress. That's how this track has always been when it comes to making passes.
Yeah, and as you get closer up to the front of the field, it becomes harder and harder to make the passes. I mean, obviously, whenever you're further back in the field, they're a little bit more bunched up. There could be some checkups that kind of cause you to gain a few positions just for free. But whenever you get to the front 2 or 3 cars, and they're both fast, like we've seen Keegan Sabilo and Andrew Hale be the entirety of this race, it just becomes a much harder pass to make than it was for 10th, 20 laps ago. So this is going to be a lot harder for Boyd Hogan to kind of work his way through the front 2 than he did the middle of the pack. But still, I mean, he was so fast at the beginning of this race. I'd be surprised if he doesn't at least mount a charge for the lead by the end of it.
No, I think you're right. I mean, but I think he might also be biding his time. As we see big moves from Robert Lawrence. He just made his way up to 5th place, got by Eli Childs like he wasn't moving as well as Nathan Meyer. Yellow flag is back out again, and William Mann Jr. involved. We got a little bit of a pile up here. Craig Ganzak, I do believe, making some evasive maneuvers.
Oh, I hope it was just evasive maneuvers, because I saw him take those 4 tires, and I was like, that could be really good for him to come through the field, but if he's got damage, that's going to completely kill him.
I think we actually might have. I'm hearing it different. Seems like he was not taking evasive maneuvers. Might have actually been the cause of the accident. So let's see exactly what happened here with the 3 machine. Oh, and it actually... Oh. He actually was not the cause. It was actually William Mann Jr. that came down, tagged him, and sent him up into the outside wall. And unfortunately, caution flag flies, and Craig Anzac probably got a tremendous amount of damage from that.
He's still got his fast repair, so he'll at least have that, but that completely kills his strategy that he had. I mean, those tires are going to be hurt a little bit, and he's going to have to start back in the back of the pack once again.
Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, and a lot of times just being back here in the traffic is just probably the worst thing. And look at that hit from Tyler Meeks. Very hard hit on the inside wall for Meeks. Would not be surprised if that car is going to be very hurt. I think he's probably already used his fast repair maybe. If not, he's going to be using it now, that's for sure.
Yeah, we're seeing a little bit more split decision on the pit road strategy. A couple guys saw that Yanzak strategy and thought maybe it was a little bit too early then, but after a couple more laps on the tires, looks like Boyd Hogan, Whitney, and another couple drivers, Eli Childs, all coming down pit road to take a set of tires, while Keegan Sabilo and Andrew Hale actually stayed on the racetrack.
Yeah, interesting decisions here. I think I like the decision to kind of stay on the racetrack, especially if we get like another 15, 20 lap run, then you go down and kind of get on a different strategy to have newer tires towards the end. I think that's what Keegan, Andrew Hale, and Lawrence are probably thinking about right now. We'll see how it plays out. I mean, we could see a green run to the end here, especially considering I think we're starting to have some attrition with all the damage we're seeing.
I understand your optimism. I hope you're right. But with how split the decision was on coming down pit road, I feel like we're probably going to have another caution here relatively soon just because there's going to be so many guys on new tires coming through the field trying to pass guys that haven't pitted for 20 laps, 25 laps. So I think it'll be interesting. It's going to have a lot of give and take. It can't just be all take at this point. Obviously, the guys on new tires, though, I mean, Boyd Hogan on equal tires that everybody was all take. I can't imagine whenever he's going through the field against a bunch of guys who have 20 lap older tires than him. I mean, he's going to be taken like there's no tomorrow.
He's definitely going to be flying through this field, that's for sure. And some guys might even, that it might be a dangerous situation because a lot of times when you're on newer tires to someone that's and they're on older tires, it's hard for them to predict and it's hard for you to predict the differences in momentum. And a lot of times that's what causes cautions. That difference in momentum and guys just not being able to kind of be aware of, like, okay, he's 15 miles an hour faster than me, and he's coming up on me so fast. It's just hard to I say react accordingly. But while we have a moment, I do believe actually the pace car lights, I do believe have gone out, so we're actually getting ready to go back green. Keegan Sobilo, of course, set to get us there once again. Now, track position seems to be highly, I'd say, valued. Let's see if it gets Keegan to the end of this race.
It's going to be tough, but they're coming out of turn number 4. He's on that outside line that he's chosen time and time again on the restart of Andrew Hill, and now going down into the Geico restart zone. The pace car pulls off, and Sabilo gets another good jump, completely clears Andrew Hill before they even get into the corner. This time, Hale couldn't quite clear the top before they got to the corner, but he still gets him in the middle of the corner. But he's still side by side with Lawrence on the bottom. He actually has a little bit of contact from behind with James South that looked like going down into turn number 3, but they all keep it straight, and Andrew Hill's going to be able to prevail on that P2 spot.
And for a moment there, we saw 3 wide in the mid-pack. So, I mean, this is definitely getting crazy. As here comes Boyd Hogan, tries to get to the inside of John Lucido. Whoa, we are almost getting ready to see 3 wide. And 3 wide usually does not work at a track like Bristol. These guys not wanting to give any room here. And I think at any time, something could go wrong.
And this is a super important battle for a couple reasons. Boyd Hogan and Whitney, the two that are side-by-side right behind the front side-by-side battle, are both on the absolute freshest tires. And honestly, Boyd Hogan turns Lucido going through 1 and 2, but Lucido holds on to it and able to get it straightened out before they get down into turn number 3. And then Boyd Hogan takes them 3 wide as soon as they get it figured out and passes them back going down onto the front stretch. But that does hurt Boyd Hogan in his quest to get up to the front. He's still got the freshest tires in the field, but there's a couple other guys that have freshies with him that have now passed him out.
What a save for Lucido. I mean, just fantastic performance there for him as we see, of course, the battle still on for that 6th place position. Brian Whitney having to try to hold off Craig Ganzak right now. Of course, Whitney, I do believe, on fresher tires. Brandon Ball also in the top 10. Definitely looking good right now, as well as James South. Kind of worked his way, has been having a quiet day, but unfortunately, I don't think he's on newer tires at the moment.
Yeah, it's going to be hard for South to hold on to that position. Still good job on the strategy calls so far to be able to give himself some track position. And honestly, if this thing runs 10, 15 more laps and a caution comes out, that'd be perfect for James South because then he'd come down, get that fresh pair of rubber. And a lot of the guys that just pitted on the last pit stop probably wouldn't do the same, and he'd be able to pick them right back off. So you just got to hope that the strategy plays out your way. Oh, but Whitney gets turned in the middle of the corner. He had made contact with Yanzak. And then he gets turned whenever he makes contact with the ball, but he's still wrecking into the outside wall on the front stretch, going down into turn 1, and that's going to take Whitney out of contention to the race.
And still, somehow, the green flag is out. How did we not get a caution there? As Whitney, that was a very long-form crash right there, of course, involving Craig Ganzak. We saw, of course, Whitney come back onto the racetrack. As the battle is still on, Andrew Hale
in the fence. Nathan Meyer takes him under the inside, coming off of turn number 4. Sabilo got loose in the corner after he had just about lost it in turn 2, and he might not drop another position again to the number 5 machine of Robert Lawrence. But Nathan Meyer, right place, right time, takes the lead away from Sabilo.
Meyer got into the wall as well, so we're starting to see these guys that stayed out on the older tires are definitely starting to have some troubles, I think, with the race car getting tight. As we're going to take a look back and see how Meyer got the lead here. And you see Sobilo right here. Oh, just got a little bit of a twitch in the middle of the corner, sent him up into the wall. That's what allowed Meyer to take the lead here. You see Lawrence tries to capitalize, but not quite able to do it.
Don't look now, but Boyd Hogan has cracked the top 5 on the fresher tires even after his mishap earlier. Did a good job holding on to the car after he made contact with the 73 of Lucido, and he's been able to work his way back through the field, now running the bottom of the racetrack, trying to catch up to the top 4 who are all on old rubber. It's probably going to be pretty easy for Boyd Hogan to get there, but it's not going to be super easy to pass him as they're still battling just about side by side as South tried to look to the inside of Lawrence for P3, but now Lawrence gets to the inside of Sabilo for P2, but gets loose in the middle of the corner. That's going to check up James South coming off, and they're side by side right in front of Boyd Hogan.
We also saw Brian Whitney down on the apron, of course, but you could tell these guys are starting to struggle. The handling of these race cars essentially have gone away. And here comes, contact. The South gets tight on Lawrence, somehow saves it. What a race we're seeing here is now South is going to fall outside of the top 5 and possibly even drop down to 8.
Man, it just seems once you get loose out of one of the corners, you're automatically going to be loose in the next one. We saw it again with James South right there after we saw it from Sabilo not too long ago from the race lead. It just seems that once you burn up that tire just a little bit, you get them outside of that optimal running temperature, you just have to get them back in, like in a really slow burn to get them back in. It's really strange, but unfortunately for South, he's fallen all the way back, and he's still falling back heavily. I think he's had another issue.
Of course, we see Boyd Hogan right now battling side by side with the 77 of Keegan Sobilo, very close. You can tell that Boyd is leaning hard on the 77. The 77 is still twitching sideways for a moment, has to catch it.
Wall! Janczak goes around and clobbers the outside wall coming out of turn number 2. Multiple drivers involved, running for that P4 position. Huge crash coming out of the corner.
And you see right now Janczak backing it up on the apron. Probably heavy damage considering I think he's already used his fast repair for the evening. We're going to take a look back at this crash and see exactly what happened. You see Robert Lawrence is right in front of him. I think Lawrence might have had an issue. Yep, loose on the top line. Net code, heavy net code that caused Janczak to hit the, and then secondary crash with Andrew Hale. This is just a worst case scenario as Janczak is still in reverse on the back on the apron right now. I'm not sure exactly what he is doing, but we're going to take another look back at this. We're watching from the roof cam of Janczak. And you see right there, just a gradual loose condition for, of course, Lawrence. But there was no contact between Janczak and Lawrence. It was all netcode.
Janczak has to feel so hard done by that. I mean, that is just so upsetting for the driver of the 3 to get that heavy of netcode coming out of the corner. I mean, it was a hard hit for Lawrence, and that's that's kind of what causes the netcode issues. It's especially the bigger ones whenever it's such a hard hit and you see the dramatic overcorrection in the middle of the corner and such a hard hit to the wall that the game just really, I don't know. I think that the server side of the game decided that he was going to be coming off the wall more than that. He did not, and it just took out Janczak. And then, who was it? Andrew Hale had nowhere to go coming off the corner either. A couple of these guys had already used their fast repairs, so that's going to be super, super tough for guys like Craig Janczak.
Now, we do have a split strategy on the pit stop once again here. Of course, we see Keegan Sobilo came down pit road. Nathan Meyer as well. Both of these drivers were just kind of in the top 2. Boyd Wayne Hogan's going to be having the lead here with less than 50 laps to go. Of course, he is on older tires right now. What will happen here? Will Keegan and Nathan Meyer be able to do the same thing that we saw Boyd able to do? Definitely curious for sure. Of course, we do have a whole host of new drivers that are up in the top 5 for the first time. Of course, James Harris, he's in 3rd right now. William Mann Jr., he's in 4th. Tyler Meeks, of course, he was in, I do believe, the top 5 earlier in the race. He's back up in there now. George Young, he's up in 6th. Definitely a good, quiet day for him. But this is definitely interesting. We pretty much shook this field up with that accident.
Yeah, that was a tough one. It's going to shake it up majorly, but I don't think Boyd Hogan's going to be able to hold on to this lead. I mean, he'll pull away from him and Eli Childs going at it on the front stretch. That was a little interesting. They did make a little bit of contact, I believe, earlier in the race, but I think he's going to be a sitting duck to the guys on new tires. I mean, Sabilo's the first one off the pit road on new tires, sitting in 6th place. Meyer was stupid fast in 7th, so them on the new tires, even though I think Boyd is probably got the most race pace here. You really just can't overcome the tire deficit at a track like Bristol. So it's going to be super tough for Boyd Hogan, but he takes the bottom lane on the restart. First guy to do that in quite some time, and that's going to give the outside to Eli Childs.
Yeah, I'm wondering if maybe there is something possibly going on. You see a little even contact there, William Mann Jr. and Eli Childs. So some guys maybe a little bit frustrated. Short track tempers are starting to, I think, flare up a little bit here. Pace car lights are out. We're getting ready to get back racing here. That's good. We see some more drama. I think we're not done with that yellow flag.
You're going to have to pay attention to this P2 battle coming to the restart zone. Boyd Hogan's going to get the clear easily coming off of turn 4 here on the restart. Oh, man, Eli Childs just about jumped the restart, though, but Boyd gets that jump. Was really, really slow on the restart, but Eli's actually able to completely get clear for second, it looks like, before they get down into the corner. Now it's all about Keegan Sabilo. Man, look how fast he is compared to the car on the outside. I mean, just absolutely clears him going through 1 and 2 and out of the outside of the 55 of Harris, but the caution comes right back out.
And I'm not sure. I think Nathan Myers possibly. Myers stopped on the apron here. Look at the front end of that race car. Left front is completely gone. As I think we're going to witness a pretty heavy crash. You see Mike Little. Meyer comes up a little bit, and I think might a little been some more net code. That's been one thing we've seen a lot here this evening. Is you see the right front though, or the left front, I should say, completely missing off of that race car. I'm sure we have a broke toe link. He has to take a tow. We're going to probably take another look back at that to see if we can kind of get a little bit of a closer, more of a top-down view possibly. And you see right here, side by side, Mike Little and Nathan Meyer, and no contact. They did not touch, but unfortunately, iRacing says they did.
Yeah, it's been a tough one tonight. I mean, multiple issues like that. It's just kind of weird to be seeing so many of that, or so much of that tonight.
Well, while we do have a moment, I do want to give another shout out to one of our sponsors here on Champion Power Equipment Truck Series, that being Green Mountain Grills. We all love barbecue. Green Mountain pellet grills are the top of the line quality grills for all of your grilling needs. GMG also offers the highest quality dry rubs, sauces, pellets, and not at the highest price. Customers enjoy the best possible grilling experience without breaking the bank. Visit either one of their 1,000 locations across the U.S. or visit them at greenmountaingrills.com. for online purchases, recipes, and much more. It's definitely been a heartbreaking night here that I think some barbecue might help for some of these drivers that are out here wrecked.
Oh, man, you're not wrong. I might go get me some after the race. But Boyd Hogan, if he's intelligent, and I think he is, I think he'll take the outside this time because Keegan Sabilo on the new tires is going to be starting in P3. And you're going to want to trap him behind another driver. And unfortunately for Eli Childs, that's probably going to be him. I got to think Boyd's going to take the top just so that Childs can hold up Sabilo just a little bit. But with 40 laps to go, I don't know if it's going to matter, to be honest. I think that Sabilo is just going to be able to absolutely drive by both of these guys as soon as it gets green. I don't think we're going to see a caution fest at the end of this thing. So I really am definitely seeing Sabilo taking the lead at some point. It's just about, do we get another caution? And does Sabilo have any more tires left to take for the next pit stop? Or is he going to be a sitting duck the next time we come around?
That's definitely the question I think we're going to have to ask here. I mean, what is Boyd willing to do? Does he throw some blocks? I think that's going to be the key here. If Boyd starts throwing blocks, give less give and take here at Bristol, I think that could be, whether we have, green flag to the end or a caution, or, maybe even further back in the pack here, could we see still something happen? I mean, there's still a lot of these guys that I think are not quite used to how these cars are handling at this racetrack. I mean, it has quite been, I think, one of the most difficult setups we've actually seen on a race car here tonight. I mean, really, most of the time, you don't have that much of a loose condition, especially on the bottom side. But, of course, we've also seen a lot of contact bring out that caution flag as well.
I was talking up Boyd Hogan that I think he's intelligent, but I'm going to have to take it back because he took the bottom, and that's going to give Sabilo a really good run on the restart. Going to be able to clear Eli Childs probably pretty easily through 1 and 2. And just kind of let him set his sights on Boyd Hogan. So I'm looking to see Sabilo take the lead on the restart within probably 2 laps.
Yeah, very well could be the case. We'll have to wait and see how that plays out. Of course, green flags should be coming out here very soon. Pace car lights are out. I do believe the pace car is getting ready to take a left turn down pit road right now. And Boyd Wayne Hogan, with the field in hand, he guns it and gets a really good start. He's going to, of course, jump up in front of Eli Childs. Keegan Sabilo not with the best start, but he is going to rock it around in the middle of the corner. Just look at how fast He is on the new tires.
Yeah, I thought he'd get a better restart than that, but turn 1 and 2 was ridiculous. I mean, that was absolutely insane how much speed he had coming through that corner on the new tires, and now he's hunting down Boyd Hogan. Boyd is going to be a sitting duck unless Sabilo makes a mistake, but he just about did coming off of turn 2, got a little loose as there's hard battling throughout the back half of the pack. I mean, even just going back to 7th place, they're side by side with crazy dive bomb moves down into the corner.
Yeah, you see it right there. I do believe Robert Lawrence battling with Tyler Meeks. Meeks up on the top side, Robert Lawrence on the bottom. You see Michael Little as well right there fighting side by side with John Lucido. So there's a lot of battling going on right now as, of course, the gap before the lead is about half a second now as Eli Childs, of course, is in third. Oh, and there goes Andrew Hale sideways, and the yellow flag is back out on the racetrack.
Andrew Hale got turned sideways in the middle of the corner. Couldn't quite tell what happened from the camera view I was looking at, but that was a kind of tough one. A little bit of a stack up here. We're going to look right in front of them. James South, they're 2x2 in front. James gets a pretty good entry in the middle of the corner. The 193 got a little loose, kind of stacked up the 21, and then that stacked up the 4, who got turned by, I believe that was Yanzak. I couldn't quite tell for sure, but kind of an unfortunate thing all the way around. Not really much Andrew Hale could do and not much James South could do to make that any different. Just unfortunate for Hale that he got the worst end of that because he was crazy fast through the race. He's used his fast repair already, so that's going to be the end of Andrew Hale's chances in this race. Yeah,
it's just unfortunate. You see the contact happening in front of Hale, and Hale just getting turned by Yanzak. I mean, I don't think Yanzak meant to do that either. Glad to see Yanzak had at least made it back onto the racetrack, but I'm sure he probably feels terrible about turning a lead lap race car. But Andrew Hale, heavy left front damage, so he's going to probably try to see if he could possibly get that fixed. While we have a moment, let's take one more commercial break, and we'll come back with the conclusion here of Bristol Motor Speedway.
Racing isn't easy, but experiencing it is. iRacing puts you in the driver's seat with the industry's leading sim racing game. Drive on laser scan replicas of the greatest racing circuits from around the world. Go head-to-head against other drivers chosen by skill-based matchmaking to ensure competitive racing at every level. Compete across all your favorite series in officially licensed cars engineered to deliver the most accurate driving experience possible. Join a race or host your own with players from across the globe. Race against the computer or in a league with friends. Feel the thrill behind the wheel. Visit iRacing.com.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Grid Vision's coverage of the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series at Bristol Motor Speedway. Of course, my name is Brian Brent. I have Austin Estrom as my co-commentator. Austin Derbyshire down behind the cameras. Green flag is getting ready to come back out here as we've had a thrilling race here at the last great Coliseum, the Super Speedway of short tracks, as the green flag is back out in the air. Boyd Hogan going to see if he could possibly hold off the new tires of Keegan Sabilo. Sabilo not getting going. And unfortunately, that puts him under fire from Eli Childs, but Sabilo rockets off of turn 2.
I was really surprised with Boyd Hogan on that last little run because Sabilo was not able to close that gap in at all on that last green flag run. But here he's a little bit closer than he was that entire run. right on the back bumper of Boyd Hogan coming off of turn number 2 as the pack is storming behind him, but Boyd Hogan still holding that bottom lane, trying to give a little bit of dirty air to the 77 behind him, make it a little bit more difficult for him to follow through the center of the corner. But Sabilo still there wrecking in the back. Multiple cars involved on the front straightaway. That's Meeks. The 48's in it again. He was just in the last accident. Couple more contenders taken out. Meeks was having a good recovery drive, and now he's going to have to do it all over again.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. Let's see exactly what happened here for Tyler Meeks. As you see, Brandon Ball, I think, is kind of the catalyst that caused this caution. Andrew Hale was still on the track. Got to give him some credit. He came back out here. I think he probably used his fast spare, missed the crash. Of course, Tyler Meeks, definitely unfortunate there for him. But I think Brandon Ball, like I said, the epicenter kind of this crash. And haven't seen a whole lot of mistakes from Ball here tonight. Really haven't seen a whole lot from him at all.
It was impressive from Meeks there. I mean, getting right rear like that in the middle of the straightaway and being able to lock it down as quick as he did coming off the corner to prevent, I believe it was Andrew Held that was able to get to his outside. If he doesn't lock it down so good coming off the corner, then Andrew Hell's just kind of completely T-bone him going into the middle of the corner, and it just didn't happen that way. So really good job there from Meeks to, not make that any worse than it could have been, because, I mean, that could have been an absolutely massive accident that took him out of the race completely. But instead, he's just going to be able to come down pit road, put on some new tires, since he wore the good out of them on that spin, and he'll be able to make another charge here.
Yeah, no, not a bad time for Meeks. I don't think he got too much damage out of that. I think the worst people was Ball and Young. Of course, I'm sure Boyd Wayne Hogan's loving this, though, considering the more these caution comes out, the less chance I think Sabilo has to kind of pounce on the 96.
I'd have to agree 100% with just how much the race leader has of an advantage on the restarts. I mean, you can just get such a big jump. You're basically guaranteed to clear the car on your outside before you even get to the corner. So every time that they get a caution, it's just a couple more laps that Sabilo doesn't have in the bank to try to pass Boyd Hogan.
Yeah, and it kind of even allows Boyd to cool his tires down a little bit as well. So, we'll have to see how that kind of plays out. We're coming up to 25 laps to go. So definitely, if we get a good green run, this thing will fly right by to the end. Can Boyd hold on? Or do they have maybe some drama that causes, maybe someone else to come out here and win an unknown quantity, if you will? Maybe an Eli Childs. Wouldn't that be something? Step down from the race control box and come down here and jump in a race car and win a race. Wouldn't that be something? Even a podium, I think, would be very impressive for that 999.
Do you think he just really loves Bristol and that's why he came out of retirement for this one?
Could be. I mean, it's an awesome track.
Because he's just been running so good. Running the top 5 the entire race. So really good performance from Eli Childs just to be able to run up here and stay in the top 5 for the entirety of the night.
Yeah, no, for sure. Definitely been showing a lot of pace. I mean, I think a lot of these drivers out here have been very impressive, I got to say. I mean, Robert Lawrence, doing a fantastic job. James Harris has been having a quiet day, but is up in the top 4 and, not looking too bad. For sure. Pace car lights are out, though. We're getting ready to get this thing back underway as everybody gets double filed up. Looks like Eli Childs he must have been messing with something. Fell back a little bit, but of course everything seems to be right as rain. Time to get this thing back underway here at Bristol as we're coming up, I do believe, to 23 laps to go.
Yeah, hopefully for our last restart of the night, I would like to see this thing play out between our front 2 at this point. Boyd Hogan going to be the control car once again on this restart down on the inside, that 96 car, trying to get a good jump on Sabilo in the restart zone. Boyd gets a pretty good jump. Sabilo having to lose a little bit of ground on that gear shift, gets completely cleared by Boyd Hogan before they get down in the corner. Look at Eli Childs on the bottom, trying to dig, trying to keep that inside line away from Sabilo, but he's not able to do it. Not able to slide up in front of Harris either. Now Harris has that outside line wrapping around Childs coming off of turn number 4, and he's going to be able to pull almost completely side by side and actually pulls ahead a little bit before they get to the corner, but now they're side by side coming off of 2.
Yeah, Harris definitely looking really fast right now. Of course, he's on the same amount of tires, I do believe, as Childs. Now, who is on newer tires? Robert Lawrence. Watch out for this driver. The 5 machine is about 20 lap newer tires than these drivers that are ahead of him. So he could even possibly come up here and fight for a podium position. As you see, Lawrence gets above Childs here, but it's going to be difficult to get past when they're double file in front of him.
And it's all about getting to that outside line. If you can get to the outside of somebody, you got a much better chance of making a pass. As we see the 193 get a little bit loose coming off of turn number 4, able to save that race car. Sorry, the 93. I don't know why I said 193. Mike Little doing a good job holding on to that truck coming out of the corner, but still hard side-by-side racing for about the P3, P4 position.
That's correct. Luckily, everybody was able to get by him safely as we almost are verging on 3 wide for third place. Harris is trying to hold off Eli Childs and, of course, Robert Lawrence at the same time. Lawrence thinking about going in the middle 3 wide, but these guys do not have the tires. Oh, problem. And Tyler Meeks with another issue here. Of course, you see a secondary incident there for George Young. Soft hit on the inside wall from him, but I do believe for the most part, I think Tyler Meeks is kind of the reason for the season here. Let's see exactly what happened here to Meeks. Comes up on William Mann Jr. I think Jr. just was loose off the corner in front of Meeks. And I think that's what led to this. So we'll have to take maybe possibly another angle on this to see exactly, because it looks like William Mann has just been struggling with the handling of that race car, and I think it happened at while Meeks was right behind him. I don't know, maybe possibly Meeks got into his rear beforehand. Let's see exactly. Yeah, no, it looks like just Mann just sideways off the corner. Unfortunately, I think South as well kind of finishes Meeks off.
Yeah, we're going to have to add one to the kill counter for James South. I think he's up to like 20 so far this season. I mean, just couldn't get it woed down enough to stay out of Meeks and just completely destroyed the guy. So unfortunate there, but James South just gets into the back of Meeks coming out of the corner after Meeks getting into the back of the 29. I mean, just look at how fast James South is going in there. Just absolutely destroys Meeks coming out of the corner. Very, very tough there for Meeks to get ran over from behind from James South.
Yeah, it's just sad. I mean, you know, F-tier driver, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I would have hit the brakes there and not hit the guy in front of me, personally.
Yeah, well, I mean, you know, William Mann Jr., though, you could tell he was loose, of course, on the exit of the corner, and that's why Meeks got into his rear end, and, you know, no fault of Meeks, but definitely all the fault, I'd say, rests on James South.
For sure. James South, get him out of the league.
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that he should have an EOL every time he races.
But no, in all seriousness, that was just a tough situation where a couple guys or somebody gets loose at the front and just tough to check up in that amount of time. Obviously, if you're Meeks, you hope that James either lets out of the gas or chooses the correct lane. But obviously, the two guys in front, you know, drifted up high, and South probably thought that they were going to go low because they made that contact. Maybe they wreck and spin off the racetrack, but you know, you make the decisions in just a split second. It's just so hard to actually make them correctly, and especially at a track like Bristol where everything just happens so fast. So I can't really put any of that on James South, but he did send somebody hard into the inside wall, so I'm still adding one to his kill counter.
No, I mean, I agree totally. I was just getting ready to echo that same sentiment about, you know, it's just a split second, not even a half a second, split second, a moment in time that you have to react to something here, especially with how this racetrack is. I mean, so I definitely can understand. Of course, pace car lights are out. We now have less than 15 laps to go, and all these cautions have been doing has been helping Boyd Hogan. I mean, this is essentially what it's been doing. It looks like Sabilo has been faster than Boyd, but I don't know if he's kind of scared to go up there and challenge the 96. We'll have to wait and see if that's the case, because Robert Lawrence is on just as fresh of tires as Sabilo is. So I think a new person has entered the fray. A new combatant has entered the contest.
Yeah, and with how many restarts we've had, and how many heat cycles on the tires, and a couple little green flag stints, I almost feel like Sabilo's tire advantage, it's not gone. He's still definitely got better tires than Boyd Hogan, but Boyd is just wrapping the bottom of the racetrack so well that it's hard for Sabilo to make up any type of ground. I mean, he's putting on an absolute clinic here, and obviously getting a little lucky with the cautions and the restarts, but still, I mean, he's done a hell of a job holding on to the race lead.
No, he has. Here comes the pace car down pit road as the 96 of Boyd Hogan guns it. Very good start. He is definitely a restart master. And Sabilo almost gets tagged by Robert Lawrence. Lawrence backs off. Yellow flag is back out again. I do believe William Mann Jr., I think, might have been involved in this one. William Mann has been involved in quite a number of crashes here tonight. Bristol just must not be his racetrack, just having a terrible night. Take a look back here and see what happened to the 29. This pretty much happened right after the green flag. Oh, it wasn't even William Mann. William Mann was just kind of a pretty much just involved. He kind of was a victim in this accident, to be honest with you. It looks like the bottom line really had a lot of it, or the top line, I should say, checked up. It just a kind of a domino effect, if you will.
Yeah, the 48 of George Young just didn't go on the restart. It's almost like he was on the wrong gear. I mean, look at that. He missed a shift. Yeah. It looked like he missed a shift or something. And obviously Whitney didn't see it happen in front of him, just clobbered the, who was that, Eli Childs there, that ended up coming down and tagging the 29. So just kind of an unfortunate wreck there where one guy misses a shift and it causes a huge stack up.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, William Mann Jr. really, nothing he could have done there. And Childs kind of getting pretty much ejected down to the bottom line by Whitney, and Young just not going. I mean, that's just, you know, it could cause so many problems, especially at a track like this. I mean, you have to be in the right gear. And but I mean, these guys have been out here for over 100 laps, almost 150. So I guess a lot of these guys are probably, I'd say, mentally drained. And maybe just, you know, a lot of times when you're mentally drained, that causes, you know, the probability of silly mistakes like that to be greater.
Yeah, but you got to think Boyd Hogan's loving this. I mean, my goodness, if he had any type of a green flag run, he was going to be under fire by Keegan Sabilo. But he gets these restarts and just gets to restart on the front row in the preferred groove and wrap the bottom of 1 and 2. And he just is able to get such a good jump every single time on Sabilo. There's nothing Sabilo can even do, right? I mean, Bristol's just such a tough track to start on the outside. And Boyd Hogan's able to get such a huge jump. And I suspect about the same thing here on this restart.
Yeah, for sure. Just fortunately, hopefully that cash app clears from George Young. There goes Boyd Hogan up through the gears. Because I mean, I think he's got a really good shot of pretty much holding off Sabilo. I just don't think that Sabilo's got enough time to really materialize something unless he gets really, really aggressive. Oh, almost some contact. Andrew Hale, 3 wide up top. Oh, there he goes sideways. And a caution flag is going to fly again as Andrew Hale does a full 360 there. So we saw some 3 wide intense racing. Unfortunately, 3 wide does not work well here. And
yeah, James South going down into 3 almost looked to made it 3 wide, but then Harris kind of covered him off, and South made a little bit of contact, shoved Harris up the racetrack, and Harris just never really kind of came back down the track because James South is holding the inside, and they just, unfortunately, the 2 drivers on the outside just met in the middle a little bit and caused a big stack up towards the back. I think Andrew Hale got hit once again further back. You've done a great job recovering up to just about 5th place, and unfortunately, that drops him all the way back out, and he's now left the server. Unfortunate night for Andrew Hale whenever he showed so much promise earlier in the race.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, he was championship hopeful last season, so, you know, he's got to be very, very upset right now. And Bristol does that. I mean, Bristol's an upsetting type of track. I mean, this place will definitely get you upset. But I think Hale, I'll be honest, he was crowding Harris. I don't put that on Harris. I'd probably put the majority on that on Hale, because I feel like Hale came down.
I hate to say it, but I kind of agree, and I also got to take it back. I thought South made contact going in the corner, but he actually didn't. So we remove 1 from the James South kill counter. But Andrew Hale, yeah, he was definitely coming off the wall a little bit, but you kind of have to coming out of 4. The way that corner is shaped, it's kind of the short side of the oval, and you gotta have a really, really tight turning radius coming off of that corner. And whenever you're 3 wide coming out of turn 4, it just does not work out very, very often, to be honest. So yeah, I would still just kind of put it down to a racing incident and an unfortunate situation.
No, for sure. I mean, 3 wide just does not work at Bristol. I mean, not for long at least. It has to clear up very quickly, especially with the way these trucks have been handling. I just do not think the handling of whatever setup they have, the fixed iRacing setup they have underneath this race car, is conducive to 3 wide at this racetrack, to be completely honest here. As, of course, pace car lights are out. I do believe we're going to have a 3-lap shootout here, and we're definitely in green-white checkered territory. Do we make it to the white flag? I think it's the significant, pretty much the question right now as the pace car gets ready to take a trip down pit road. Now, for some reason, Boyd was lagging back there. I don't know if he was trying to give a black flag to Sabilo. That was kind of a weird situation that Boyd lagged back and then gunned it. It definitely seemed like it worked. As, of course, Boyd Hogan now has about a 0.3 of a second gap. Oh, Sabilo sideways in front of Lawrence. What a save. He saves it. Wow.
And I was actually on board with Boyd Hogan. He was going the speed limit. Sabilo was just trying to get a little bit of an edge on him on the restart zone. He was going that 40 miles an hour that he needs to do, but going down to the white flag, Boyd Hogan looking to hold off on the old tires, trying to keep the race win. He's actually pulled a good gap away from Lawrence. And look at James South in third place, but coming through 3 and 4. Boyd Hogan in the race lead, going to come around the corner to finish this one off. Boyd Hogan's going to win Tuesday night, Bristol Thunder.
Yeah, what a race there for Boyd Hogan, able to take home the victory. And yeah, just visually it looked like, oh, wow. Somebody just came up there and just hit Lawrence after the flag. We're seeing a little bit of drama after the flag. I think some of these guys might be a little bit upset with each other. Oh, big hit on the barrels there. Wow, we're having it's a battle royale out here at Bristol. As Boyd Wayne Hogan, of course, going to do some burnout celebrating this one. What a race. Boyd on the old tires, able to hold off. Guys on 20-lap pressure tires. But who's surprised? I mean, this is Boyd Hogan we're talking about. One of the best iRacers on the service. Of course, let's take a look at the final results. Boyd Hogan, your winner here tonight at Bristol. Robert Lawrence comes in second place. Third, James South. Fourth, James Harris. Fifth, John Lucido. Sixth place, Brian Whitney. Seventh place, Eli Childs. Eighth, Tyler Meeks. Ninth, Michael Little. And Keegan Sabilo, heartbreaking 10th.
11th, William Mann Jr. 12th, George Young. 13th, Brandon Ball. 14th, Nathan Meyer. 15th, Craig Yanzak. 16th, Andrew Hale. 17th, Kevin Kirchar. 18th, Mark Matt. 19th, Caleb Forsyth. 20th, Robert Wynn. And rounding out our 21-car field, Nathan Nicholson.
And with that, we're going to take a brief step away. We'll be right back, and we'll talk to our top 3 finishers. Welcome back to Grid Vision's post-race show here, the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. What a race we saw here. We saw green flag runs, we saw accidents, we saw triumph, we saw failure. But I'll tell you what, it definitely was enjoyable. Of course, we're going to start off with our third place finisher. And just because Austin Istrom loves James South so much, Austin can talk to James here.
James South, our P3 finisher. I never doubted you, buddy. I knew you were going to get that podium finish. I totally was saying it throughout the entire broadcast there. What can you make of your race today, though? I mean, being able to come home P3, had a great showing, couple little incidents in front of you that may have added to your kill counter a little bit, even if it wasn't your fault. You know, what do you make of today's race?
Are you sure about that? Are you sure about that, Edstrom?
Oh yeah, I picked you to be in the podium, 100% pre-race.
I heard a little bird was told they had me rode off the whole entire race, but no. This Grid Vision Ford, man, she was as long as I kept her clean, she was good, right? I had to bob and weave out of a few incidents, and it just happened to be that I guess we were the magnet, you know, so it made me look like a jalopy driver. But we just kept her clean and marched on, saved tires, and they came in at the end.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever heard you this happy in my life. So I can just hear it in the inflection in your voice. I mean, you must be really proud of this P3 finish.
Well, I mean, a lot of people say I'm a washed up sim driver, you know, but here I am placing podium and champion. I got my new crew chief, Luna. She threw some couple, you know, changes in there, even though it's fixed, but she got it good for me. And, you know, put her on the podium.
Well, I don't know. It sounds like from your voice that you're just as surprised about the P3 as I was. So, but still, congratulations. Sorry, I can't even keep a straight face. Congrats on the P3. Are there any shout-outs that Mr. James South can give our viewers back at home?
Mike for believing in me. Edstrom for not believing in me. Darby, much love. Grid Vision, everybody aboard Grid Vision for putting this on. Champion for hosting a solid league. I mean, that's about it. I mean, you see my car.
Yeah, you got all the sponsors you need on there, and I'll just call it negative reinforcement is what I'm gonna call it to propel you to this third place finish. I'm sure you're listening to me on the broadcast, so maybe I'll have to switch that into some positive, but I think I'm gonna keep it negative.
That's fine, man. Do what you gotta do, you know?
All right. Well, congrats, James South, on the podium finish, his first of the season in champion, coming in the third race of the year. Hopefully he can keep it up and we can talk to him a little bit more this year. So congratulations once again, P3 finisher James South. Now we're going to throw it over to Brian Britt, who's going to have our P2 finisher, Robert Lorenz.
Robert, definitely fantastic job for you. I mean, you had the newer tires there late. What more did you need to get up there to Boyd? I mean, it seemed like you had the winning strategy, I'd say, with the newer tires later in the race.
Shoot, I didn't even know what I did. I think all I needed was just to get Keegan out of my way, since he was so loose. I just needed him out of my way. That last lap, I ran the fastest lap of the race, so I was gonna come after him, but he also ran an 8 that last lap too. So who knows? Boyd's just psychotic. I can't give him enough credit. There's a reason why he's made contender and road to pro and all that. So I mean, he's nutty with it.
He's definitely a very, very fast guy, but I mean, still, you know, he's not really out here fighting for points, I'd say, but you are. So a really good points day for you. I mean, how was your trip to Bristol? How was the truck? Because it seemed like a lot of guys were very loose.
That setup was very interesting. It was very, very loose. First few laps, I felt relatively secure, but you really had to manage that throttle. You really had to have some kind of throttle control. You couldn't just mash it out of the corners like previous times. But so a lot of throttle control, a lot of just patience and trying to set up passes, set up, real smooth the throttle, a little bit of brake, or just roll the corner. It was interesting.
Definitely was interesting to watch, that's for sure, Robert. Of course, great job on the second place finish. Going to be some good points for you. Next week is Daytona. Much different than Bristol, but still a lot of luck, I'd say, involved. How are you feeling about it?
Yeah, you couldn't get any more different than Bristol to Daytona. So, kind of luck of the draw there. Yeah, we'll see. I'm confident in it, just because I feel like I'm a pretty decent plate racer. Just a lot of smooth wheel, knowing when to take runs, kind of knowing the outside of your truck where it's at, knowing which guys to work with. It should be a fun time. Should be a good race.
Well, we definitely feel like it will be. I mean, for sure. I mean, that you know, we've already seen some plate racing here as of late, and Daytona definitely puts on good shows. And I know you guys are always so aggressive as well. I definitely look forward to it, Robert. Great job on the second place. Who can we shout out?
Well, thank you, Champion Fire Equipment, for being a part of this thing. We gotta also thank you guys for dealing with our wreckiness tonight, but hopefully it was pretty entertaining. And thank BSM, Kevin Kirscher, just everyone involved. It's a great league to be a part of. Hopefully it's a good show, and if you're looking to join one, this is a good one to join.
100%. Could not agree less. But thanks for your time, Robert. We'll see you next time.
Nope, thank you.
Alrighty, that was Robert Lawrence, driver, of course, of the 5 Machine. Next up, we got Boyd Hogan. What a job for him to be able to hold on to that top spot after 20-plus laps a deficit on his tires. Boyd, how'd you do it? I mean, those cautions kind of helped you. What would you have did if it had went green?
I think it still would have probably worked out similar, but only because all the heat cycles were kind of helping me. Honestly, that was one of the looser fix sets I've ever had.
It
And it was
definitely
like,
was.
yeah, it disconnected a lot in the center, and it was really hard to like keep it all the way together, I guess, center off. Like you kind of had to walk it up off to be good. And the more right front I could use, the better off I was. So the heat cycles kind of helped me because it just builds you tighter. So
And
that
it
helped a
seemed
lot.
like it definitely seemed like you know, those kind of cautions were helping you kind of cool the tires off. And I know you. I'll ask another question. You kind of were deep in traffic earlier in the race. What was the difference between, you know, being in the clean air versus the traffic here? It seemed like traffic was kind of a difficult thing for other people to kind of get through, but you seemed like you were able to get through it a lot easier.
You could, but it was like it's hard to complete the passes on exit, so you really got to bomb it on entry. And I think those guys kind of let me do it a lot. So there was a little leeway there. These guys are pretty chill. So it wasn't, nobody was putting it on my door too hard, I don't think. So give them a little credit on that. It was easier to pass than I thought it would be, but my preferred lane was definitely like right around the bottom, at least in 1 and 2. So when I'd have to go up to the top, it just makes that disconnecting in the center worse, and then you end up fighting it up off. So it's really hard to set up passes that way. That's why I never went back and pit again. But it was pretty good other than that. 20 laps didn't hurt me too much because we were under yellow for so many of them. But I think, yeah, overall it was a pretty good little race. And wish it could have went green a little more at the end, so we had a little bit of a race there. But all in all, pretty happy with it.
Yeah, definitely great job to you, Boyd. Of course, are we going to see more of you in Champion Power Equipment Truck Series?
Oh, of course. I mean, I'll try to be in as much as I can be. I'm not sure who I got a crew chief for pro or if I'm going to be able to get out of it or not. So if I can get out of it, sneak out of that, I'll be here every week. It'll be pretty all right. But we'll see. I'd like to. I'll definitely be here as much as I can be, like I always am. It's harder to do when we got so much going on. But I do want to thank you guys for putting on the show. Thank Kevin, Pachar, Blackstone Management, Champion Power Equipment, Green Mountain Grills, Cincinnati. Excited to have them back on board next year with us. And thank everyone at Legacy. Thank you guys for putting on the show. Thanks to James and everyone for putting on the league.
All right. Well, thanks for your time, Boyd. Hopefully we'll get to see you maybe next week at Daytona or some other race down the road. Have a good one.
Yes, sir.
All righty, that was Boyd Hogan, driver of the 96 machine. Definitely a fantastic performance for him tonight. Gridded in second, led a lot of laps, and he ends up winning the race. I hope we do get to see more of him later in the season there, Austin. I mean, he definitely, I think, injected a level of excitement that you know, we'd love to see. Well, good talk. Appreciate you. But what a race!
Apologies. You can. I'll go ahead. My bad. You can really learn a lot from watching him run. Like I mentioned in the pre-race, you need to watch him to see. You know, if you want to learn how to get better at iRacing, you got to watch Boyd Hogan because he's unbelievably talented. Everybody on the same setup, and he looked like he was on an open setup at a lot of times and able to hold off guys whenever he was on older tires. So, just really impressive to see Boyd Hogan here tonight. You know, put on that kind of performance. And I do believe once we get to the bigger tracks and the competition kind of tightens up a little bit, I think he'll still be one to beat, but it'll be a more interesting to watch, you know, him battling against guys like Keegan Sabilo and Justin Levine on a week-by-week basis.
Yeah, I mean, and he's not unbeatable for sure. I think if Sabilo had probably taken it, or if it had gone a little bit green towards the end, I think Boyd would have been under a lot more pressure than I think he was because of those cautions. So, I mean, the guy's not unbeatable, but he is very much a huge talent, one of the most talented iRacers here on the service. But he really, I think, pushes these guys to be better. And you know, that's what you need for a league, to kind of give these guys a kind of a something to look towards, to try to emulate. So I definitely love to have him in this series more often for sure. And definitely a great job to everybody out here. Even though we had some cautions, it still was really entertaining to see the way this race kind of turned out for sure. But let's take a look at, of course, what the future holds here on Grid Vision. Of course, after this Champion Power Equipment Truck Series race at Bristol, we have some racing, of course, on Thursday with the SSRL Truck Series at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They're going to be at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Of course, right after that, the next race, of course, on Friday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Me and Austin Edstrom. I hope, Austin, at least I missed calling those races with you. Going to be at Charlotte, the Roval. So definitely going to get through some left and rights there at 9. Of course, a doubleheader Sunday. We have a little bit of a change to the schedule there. They're going to be the Global Racing Truck Series is going to be at Iowa, 12:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Definitely looking forward to that one. Of course, later in the day, or nighttime, I should say, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, the RGR Kalu Glass Cup Xfinity Series is going to be at the Charlotte Oval, I do believe, in the Xfinity car. So we're going to get to see a lot of Charlotte and even road course and ovals here. So definitely looking forward to that for sure. But with that, I do believe that draws us to the conclusion of this evening's race with the Champion Power Equipment Truck Series. Definitely want to give them a big shout out and thank them for trusting us here. Big shout out and congratulations to Boyd Hogan for winning this race, and then definitely in spectacular fashion, and everybody out there that really was involved in this race. Of course, I also want to shout out my co-commentator Austin Edstrom, and of course Austin Darbyshire down behind the cameras, and everybody that's involved here with Grid Vision. My name is Brian Britt, and we'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.